is something which you have to do whether somebody tells you to do or not. Okay? Yes. So ethics is your responsibility. You have to do it. Okay? You will not wait for somebody to tell you, okay, my boss didn't tell me this, so I will not do it. This is not ethics. Okay? Ethics is that you know that I have to do it no matter what. Okay? So in ethics, so ethics tell us that what is right and what is wrong, what is considered good and what is considered bad. Ethics will help you decide about these things. So we have gone through different theories which are related to ethics. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to slide number 46 direct. Okay, slide number 46. When we apply ethics in engineering, we are applying what we call as preventative ethics. Okay, in engineering, we apply ethics in a preventative manner. Preventative meaning you try to stop something bad from happening before it happens. Okay, trying to prevent something going bad from happening. This is called preventative. Okay, the opposite of preventative is reactive. The opposite of preventative is reactive. It's not written there. Okay, but I'm telling you. For example, if you take precautions so the fire doesn't happen. If you take precautions so the fire doesn't happen, this is preventative. You are stopping the fire from happening. Got it? Okay. But if you put an alarm here, a siren here, so when the fire will happen, this alarm will go on and everybody can leave the building. This is preventative or reactive? This is reactive. Okay. So there are things to do when something goes bad. This is reactive. And there are things to do to prevent something from happening bad. Okay, those are called as preventative. Okay. So in engineering, we try to stop it from happening. Okay, our focus is try to stop something which can go bad. Okay, there are two main things which you need to do for preventative ethics. There are two main things you should have. First of all, the ability to analyze the results of your actions in future. You need to have the ability to find out, okay, or predict and forecast the results of your actions in future. So if I do this right now, what will happen in future? Okay, if I do use this material in my building, what will be the effects of using this material when the building is finished? Okay, you cannot do try and error. Okay, you cannot do trials. You cannot say, okay, let me use this material and then you will see. Can you do that? You cannot do that. Okay, so you should have the knowledge and skill to know what will happen as a result of your action. Okay, clear in the projects. Second thing you need to know, if you decide to do something, so you decided, if I use this material, it is good for my project. Got it? You decided, because now you know what will be the results. Okay, the results are very good for my building. My building will be very strong. It will have, it will be good for the weather and so on. Okay, so you know the results now. Okay. Second thing which you should know is how to implement your action. Okay, how to implement your action or your decision. So there is what and there is how. Okay, the first thing is what will happen if I do this. Okay, and if you decide I will do this, how should I do this? What do I want? Okay, so you decide I am going to use a new chemical which will make the building strong. Okay, how should I use the new chemical? Should I ask the labor to wear gloves? Should I put the material on a separate, on a safe location, and so on? Got my point? Okay? Sure?
Yes.
So, preventative ethics, which we do in engineering, has two parts. First part is calculating the results of your action. Second part is knowing how to implement your action. Okay? If I don't ask the labor to wear gloves and if I don't store the material safely, I can still use it, right? I can still use the material in my building. Okay? But which one is the correct way to use it? The first one, right? What about it? Okay? So, an action can be done in different ways. Okay? So, the first thing is you should know what will happen if I do this. The second thing is you should know how to do this. Okay? Everything can be done in a good way or the bad way. Got it? Okay. Next slide. And this is a recap of what we have already covered in the last lecture. It's a recap. This table is a recap. Ethical theories which tell us how to see something is good or bad. There are theories for it. These theories can be divided into two parts. Okay. The first part is ethics of conduct, and the second part is ethic of character. Ethic of conduct relates to your action. Is my action good or is my action bad? This comes under ethics of conduct. Okay? Is my action good or is my action bad? This comes under ethics of conduct. Okay? And the other thing is ethic of character. The other part, you can see the flow chart, is ethics of character. Ethics of character govern, am I a good person or not? Okay? Clear? Ethic of conduct, am I doing something good or bad? Ethic of character, am I a good person or not? What about it? So one is related to your action, the other one is related to you. Got it? Okay. Now, let us talk about the ethic of character because it's very simple. You can see there's only one box under it. Okay. Ethics of character, the only theory which we apply to ethic of character is the one which is coming from Aristotle. I mentioned it in the last lecture as well. Okay. He is a very, very old man. He died many centuries ago, but he was a wise man. Okay. According to Aristotle, a good person is a balanced person. Okay, who is not into any extreme. And he said that a good person or a balanced person should have practical wisdom, meaning he should know what to do when. Okay, what to do when. Okay. So if somebody is always quiet, bad. Somebody is always speaking, bad. So I am the bad person in the class, right? It's my job. What can I do? So some of my relatives have this problem. You don't speak at all. And then I get paid for speaking. You pay me always. And but this is the Aristotle view of ethical person. An ethical person is the one which knows what to do when. He knows when to speak and when to keep quiet. He knows when to spend and when to hold. Okay? He knows when to tell something and he knows when to not tell something. Okay? So a person who is always doing one thing, he is not ethical, he is not good. What my point? Okay? Clear? So this is the ethics of character. Okay? That your character should be balanced. If you are on any extreme, then there is a problem. Okay? And who has said that? Who said? Aristotle. Okay? And he died. Okay? Now we come to theory of conduct. Ethics of conduct. Okay? Ethics of conduct is related to your actions. Okay? Now this can be divided into two parts. This theory can be divided into two parts. Your action is good if the result is good. Your action is bad, the result is bad. This is one part. Okay. Second part is your action is good or bad based upon its virtue. It does not depend upon the result. Okay. So theory of conduct, which deals with your action, is divided into two parts. The first part says, look at the result. Result is good, it's good. Result is bad, it's bad. And the other part says that don't look at the result, look at the action itself. If this action is good, good. Even if the result is bad. Okay. So, for example, you have a client, and the client comes to the site, and he is looking and he's asking for the progress of the site, progress of the work. Okay. And you tell him everything is good, but you have a delay of 1 week. You are not telling him. Okay. Because if you tell him, he will not make the payment on time. But no problem. Okay. So you are withholding information because of the result. Okay. So according to the first part, they are calling it what? Consequentialism. Okay. So consequentialism says look at the result. Okay. And the other one is deontology. Okay. Deontology says look at the action itself, not the result. Okay. So according to consequentialism, I said something to the client, now he will pay me on time. Result is good, right? Result is good. So the action is? No, according to consequentialism, if the result is good, the action is good. Okay? If you look at from the point of view of deontology, so your action is bad. Your action is bad. Why it is bad? Because you are lying. Okay? Whether the client pays on time or doesn't pay on time, it does not have anything to do with the action. This is according to the theory of deontology. Got my point? Okay? So theory of conduct, there are 2 point of views. One point of view is look at the action itself. Is it good or bad? This is deontology. Okay? And the other one says look at the result. Okay? If the result is good, good. Result is bad, bad. Okay? This is consequentialism. Okay? Then in consequentialism, you will see 2 types. In consequentialism, you will see 2 types. Okay? The last 2 boxes. Okay? One is called the egoism. The other one is utilitarianism. Okay? Egoism says look at the result from your point of view. If it is good from your point of view, it's good. If the action has good result for you, it is good. Utilitarianism says look at the result from everybody's point of view. Okay? If it is good for everybody, then the action is good. Okay? Let me give an example. You are doing interviews, you are hiring, you are the HR manager or something. Okay? Or CEO of the company. They said, okay, we need a new project manager in our company and you take care of the hiring. Okay? And you hire someone who is your cousin. Okay? So he is your cousin. Okay? And so if that person which you hired, his only qualification is that he is your cousin. He does not have anything good at all. Okay? According to egoism, this is in your benefit, right? The result is good for you. According to egoism, this action is correct. According to egoism, this action is correct because the result is good for you. You had a cousin who was jobless, now he has a job. So he will support his family will send gifts to you and so on. Okay? According to egoism, it is correct. According to the other party, utilitarianism, is it good for the company? You hired someone who has no good qualities. Is it good for the company? So according to the other theory, utilitarian theory, it's not good. Okay, the result is only good for you. According to the other theory, the action is not good. Okay, but let's say this cousin you hired, he is the best project manager in the town. Okay, he was jobless because of some reason, but he is the best person in Bahrain for this job. Now tell me, what about according to utilitarianism? Now it's good. According to the other theory, okay, yeah, utilitarianism, the action is good because it's good for everybody. What now point? Okay, clear? So, for example, let me give you the example from another point of view. For example, you were hiring people for your company. Okay, what you did, you took the CV from your cousin and you hired him. No process, nothing. Okay, no interviews, no tests, no call. Okay, you did not even inform anybody that there is a vacancy. Okay, now if you look at from the theory of conduct, okay, we have deontology and consequentialism, right? Okay, deontology, according to deontology, your action is bad, right or wrong? You are the manager, you should announce a post, you should do interviews, you should ask people to give the seat, right? Your action is bad. Okay, according to deontology, you are doing bad. Even if you hire the best person, your action is right. Clear? Clear? Now, so let's put it aside. If you want to be correct according to deontology, you should follow all the procedures. Okay, so now you are not doing any procedure. You hired your cousin. Okay, now let's say, so you hired your cousin, the result is good. Good for who? If your cousin is totally useless, then the result is only good for you. So you are doing something good according to egoism only. According to the theory of egoism, what you did was good because the result was good for you. Okay? But if your cousin is the best person in the town, he is the best project manager in the town, then according to the theory of utilitarianism, your action is good because it's good for everybody now. It's good for you, good for your cousin, good for the company as well. Clear? Okay. I can take you to the next level as well. The example. Let's say whenever the company asks you to hire someone, you do this. Okay. Whenever they say we need one person, you always call here, call there, take their CV, no process, no interviews, and you always hire someone like this. Okay. What do you say about the character of this person? Should this person be in charge of hiring? Who's always like taking CV from anyone? Should he be in charge of hiring? He shouldn't be, right? Why? Because he's on one extreme. He's always hiring people like this. So his character is not good. Okay? But if he is doing sometimes, okay, right now there's a project going on and the manager has just left from this project. So we need someone very urgent. Okay? I need someone next week. Okay? So I don't have the time to make the call and do the interviews and so on and so forth. So at that time, I call someone, I get the best guy in the town, and I put him on the job. Fine. Next time when I will have more time to hire and do the interviews, I will follow the procedure. Okay? So now my character is good because I have now, according to Aristotle, I have practical wisdom. I know when to follow the procedure and when to not follow. Okay? Clear? Okay. Any questions? Okay. So, next slide. Okay. In the next slide, you will see moral theories. Okay. Morals and ethics are connected to each other. Ethics are developed according to morals. Okay. Moral principles are foundations, and ethics is the building on the foundation. You build the foundation, right? If the foundation is strong, building will be strong, right? So, morals are the reasons for ethics. Okay? So, ethics tell you why something is good or bad, right? Ethics tell you what is good or bad. Sorry. Ethics tell you what is good and what is bad. Morals tell you why it is good and why it is bad. Got my point? Ethics tell you what. Morals tell you why. Okay? And when you go through this, you will understand. Okay? Ethics tell you what is good, what is bad. Morals tell you why it is good and why it is bad. Got my point? Okay? So, for example, if you look at the first moral theory, it says utilitarian. Okay? The first moral theory is utilitarian. So, when you take any decision in your life, you look at the good and you look at the harm. You look at the benefit and you look at the loss. Okay? There is nothing in this world which has all benefits and no losses. Okay? So, for example, you are coming here for studying, right? Okay? So, you are giving your time. Right or wrong? Okay? You are spending money. Right or wrong? Okay? So, this is what? These are your losses, right? Your time, your money, your effort, these are your losses. Why I am doing this? Because in the end you see something good, right? And according to your criteria, this good is more than the losses, right? This is why we are doing it. Got my point? Okay. So I am doing this job. Okay. So again I am coming here, I am raising my voice, I am putting in effort, I am dealing with you guys, I am doing this, I am doing that, I am coming from home, I am leaving my family and so on. Okay. So these are the losses, right? These are the losses. Why? In the end, I will get some salary, I will get a position and so on. So according to me, this benefit is more than the losses. Okay? So moral principle is people always like to do things which have more good than bad. Okay? People always prefer things which have more good than bad. Clear? Okay? So for example, you are driving on the road. Okay? And you see someone else is in front of you. Driving at high speed. Okay, you are driving at very high speed. If you try to stop, you will not stop, he is very close. You will go and hit him. If you hit him at that speed, he will die. Okay, if you try to save him, you will go to the other lane or you will go to the side of the road and you will damage your car. Okay, there is loss in both the decisions, right? There is some loss in both the decisions. Okay. The first, which one will you take? Damage the car, right? He's thinking. Okay? You damage the car, right? So you are taking a loss, right? Why? Because you think the benefit is more. Okay? Somebody said to me the other side, it depends upon my car. Yes. If my car is 10,000 pp, I will kill the person. Right? And so, but you understand? Whatever you are doing in your life, even what we are doing right now, you make up your mind that what I am doing is taking some effort and taking something from me, but what it is taking from me, it will give me back more in return. That's what I am doing. Okay? So, first moral principle is more good than harm. Okay? More good than harm. You always take things which have more good than losses. Okay? The second moral principle is justice. Okay? All equals should be treated equally. Okay? Justice, the principle of justice says that, for example, if I have 50 students in the class, I should treat all 50 of them equally. Got it? Okay? Whether they are boys or girls or from one country or from another country, doesn't matter. Okay? If I have 10 suppliers who are supplying materials to me on my project, all 10 of them are equal to me. If I have 10 team members, all 10 of them are equal. Okay? If I'm hiring people, if I have 10 people applying for the job, all 10 of them are equal to me. Got it? Okay? So this is the theory or principle of justice. Then we have the principle of rights. Okay? You have to do something, or you should not get involved in something which will violate the right of others. Okay? What are other people's rights? For example, right to live, right? The right to live. You cannot take anybody's life, right? Because it's good for the project or good for the company. Can you kill someone for a job? This person is, because of him, we lost the project. Now let us kill him. Can you do that? Okay. Why? Because this is the right to live is his basic right. Okay. Okay. We will not kill that person. Can we just cut off his arm? One. No. No. Yeah. No. Okay. Because this is one of his basic rights, right? To live and to work and so on. Okay. You can fire him. To work in your company is not his basic rights. Or no one. To work in your company is not his basic rights. You can go and work somewhere else. You lost the project because of him, you can fire him. Okay? So whatever the basic rights are, basic rights to live, to work, to be healthy. Okay? So if you do something which is against the health of the person, okay, so you have the office and the AC is not working. You say, okay, it's saving me cost. If I repair the AC, it will cost me 500 BD. Let them work. Okay? And people are, you see what will happen to them, right? Okay? So, and same thing, you are doing something which is bad for the environment. Okay? Clean environment, clean water, clean, what do you call? To live in a clean and healthy environment is everybody's rights, right? It's a right for everybody. Okay? So you should not get involved in anything, or you should not do anything in your project or in your company which will violate anybody's basic rights. Okay? Basic right is food and drink and health and live and education and so on. Okay? Clear? So if there is anything which will risk somebody's life, you cannot do it. Simple. What about it? Okay? So this is the principle of rights. Then we have the principle for harm and care. Principle of harm and care. It says that if you see somebody in need, somebody needs your support, you try to treat them kindly. You try to help. Okay? If somebody is sick, okay, so you cannot tell them, no, you still have to come to the office. I don't care if you are sick. Okay? I don't care if somebody died. I don't care if you need some money. You lost everything or you something like. Okay? If somebody needs you, okay, then you should try to support them. Okay? If somebody has health issues, somebody has money issues, somebody has some other issues, mental issues, social issues, okay? We should try to help somebody who is in need. Okay? Trying to help somebody who is in need. This is another principle. Then the next one is the principle of virtue. The principle of virtue. A student comes to me, okay, and he says me, doctor, I got very bad marks in your exam, but I'm a very good student. Like in my whole life, I never got less than 100%. Okay, but in your exam, I got like 5 out of 20. Nobody got that. But let's say somebody says this. Okay, should I trust him? Should I trust him? Why not? His action is saying something which is not true. What he is saying and what his action is showing is not matching, right? Okay, it's not matching. Okay, so your action must match with the quality which you are trying to show. Your action must match with the quality you are trying to show. If you say I am an honest person, and then next day I found that you are lying to me for some other reason, will I trust you? Will I acknowledge that you are an honest person? No. Because what you did is not according to your quality, what you were saying. Okay? If you say I am a very courageous person, I have courage. But if I ask you to say something to my client, you stay quiet. You cannot say this. Okay? So yeah, you are saying I am brave, but you are not brave. Or no point? Clear? Okay? So this principle says, the last one says, your actions define your quality. Your actions define your quality. Okay? Saying something is not enough, you have to show it. Saying something is not enough, you have to show it. Got my point? You say I'm very good at reading and writing, and your reports are so bad, I will not trust you. You say I'm very responsible, but when I give you something to do, you are 1 week late. So you're not responsible. Okay? So your actions are proof of your virtue. Virtue means quality. Good quality. Virtue means good quality. Okay? So you have to show good qualities in your actions, not by just saying it. Got it? Okay, next slide. Next slide is for you basically. So we have talked about ethics, right? Okay. Give me examples from engineering where you have to apply these ethical principles and these things. Give me an example. In civil engineering or engineering. Where do we apply ethics? Tell me. Huh?
Design.
Design how? Tell me.
That's good or bad.
Design is?
Good or bad.
Where is ethics in it? How do I apply ethics in it? Design is good, okay, the building has this much height, it is very strong, okay, I'm using the best quality material. This is all engineering, right? Any engineer would do this. Where is ethics in it? What is the part of ethics here?
In the documents or the clients to say him, I will finish the project in this time, at timeline.
Okay. So you are giving some wrong information to the client just to take business from him, right? Okay. So how do you decide if this action is good or bad? If you look at the result, it is good for you, right? But is it good for everybody? No. So in that aspect, it is bad. Okay. And lying itself, is it a good thing or bad thing? Yes or not, right? Lying, is it good or bad? Bad. Okay. So this is where you have to decide, should I do this or should I don't do this? Okay? Okay, one example. Give me one more before moving forward. One more example. Yes. One more example from engineering, civil engineering, any engineering. Okay. Where you have to think about whether something is good or bad. Not from engineering point of view. Not from numbers.
And the quality or the material used for the building is bad, persons will be bad. So
Okay. But you are saying on the basis of engineering, right? Why the material is bad? Okay. Because if it does not give us the strength you need, it is engineering, right? Where is ethics here?
Because it is low cost. It is low cost, it's good for me. But it's not good for
Okay, so you decide on selecting the material based on something which can benefit you, but it will not benefit the client. Okay, okay, good enough. Very good. Okay. And we already talked about treating others equally. So if you have 10 suppliers, you cannot say this one is my friend, I will only give the order to him and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are all examples from engineering. Okay, going to the next slide. Okay, engineers have responsibilities. We have ethical responsibilities. Why do we have ethical responsibilities? Because we are taking part in the progress of the society. Okay, so if you ask people who are older than you, okay, if you ask somebody like me, okay, what are the changes you have seen from when you were young and till this time? Okay, so I will tell you, okay, the biggest change is this. You have these smartphones now. My time there were no phones, believe it or not. Okay, like there were phones, the ones which we have in the office, but not these. We didn't have the cell phones. Okay, so who built these cell phones? Who made? Engineers, right? Okay, engineers made them, right? So because of these phones, now we have moved forward, right? The society has developed. You can just imagine how many ways you are using these phones. Use them to look for time, use them to communicate, use them to do research, use them for studying, use them for many other things they don't want to even know. Okay? So, because of something that engineers have built, the society is moving forward, right? So engineers decide whether they are going in the good direction or the bad direction. They are playing the part or not. Okay? So somebody says because of cell phones we have this bad. And because of cell phones we have this good. So because of the person who designed this, right? Okay or not? Clear or not? Okay? So we decide in which direction the society will develop or how the society will move forward. Okay? And then the next one is, yeah, we also develop processes. Okay? So, for example, we develop the process for treating sea water into fresh water. Okay? There's a process by which you can clean the sea water and make it usable. Okay? We call it desalination. Okay? And we have the process for recycling products, right? You can recycle bottles, you can recycle plastic and clothes and paper and so on. Okay? So there is a recycling process, right? Okay? So the process of turning sea water into fresh water, is it good for the society or not? Good, right? Okay? And there is a process by which you give harmful chemicals to the air. So you are doing something in your factory, in your industry, and produces carbon monoxide. Is this process good or bad? Bad. Both are designed by who? The good one and the bad one. Both are designed by engineers. Okay. So when you are designing the processes, you have to look, okay, how this will impact other people. Okay. Maybe the process is good. Now the process which is done in the industry, in the factory, which is causing harmful gases to go into the air, the process itself is good, right? It is doing something. Maybe it is making cement. Cement is, we are using it, right? Okay. Or maybe it is making new cars. We love cars, right? So the process is good, but the effects are not good. So if somebody is only looking at the process, he will say, I'm doing something very good for the society. But did you look at the results? Okay. So this is how engineers have the responsibility. Okay. So for example, you are designing a bridge and you did not perform the design properly. Okay. And because of your behavior, because of your lacking, now the bridge will fall. It will collapse. Okay. A bridge collapsing means people will die, right? Okay. So you are harming lives. Okay. You are harming people's lives. You are taking their right to live, right? There are people on the bridge who are moving and your bridge collapsed. But there were people under the bridge and your bridge collapsed over them, right? You are harming their right to live. Okay. You have built a gas tank, okay, but you did not construct it properly and the gas tank exploded. Okay. Again, it will harm the environment, it will harm the people around it, and so on and so forth. Okay. If you build a medical instrument, okay, so for example, you are making X-ray machine, okay, but you did not build the machine properly. Now this can affect people's health, right? Health is a basic right or not? Health is a basic right? Okay. So this is how you can, you have designed a process in which you are refining petroleum, for example. You are refining the oil, okay, and in this refinement process there are chemicals which are going in the air, harmful chemicals. So you are destroying the environment, right? Okay. Environment is a basic right or not? Clean environment is a basic right. So all these are affected because you are not taking care of your ethical responsibilities. Okay. You are affecting people's health, their life and their environment, okay, by not doing your job properly. In the next slide you will see a case study, okay, case study of Hyatt Regency in Kansas City, and this building collapsed in 1981. So you can see both the picture of the actual building and the collapsed one, and in this collapse more than 100 lives were taken. Because of the collapse of the building, more than 100 lives were taken. Okay. In this case study, they found some issues. Okay. So because of this collapse, people in the USA, they started talking about ethics in engineering. Okay, because of this major event. This is how it happens. Okay, every major event has some consequences. Whenever something big happens, then people start thinking about what we can do in future to not let this happen. Okay, so people started looking at things which they can change and which will prevent these things to happen. Okay, so they found there was a flaw in the design. The design was not done correctly. Okay, in the design of the building, they had walkways. Okay, they had walkways like corridors and these things. Okay, so they had walkways. For the design of the walkways, they were supposed to use single suspension rod. Okay, they used single rods, but in the design there were single rods where there were supposed to be two rods. Okay, so the person who was designing the walkways, he did not design the walkways properly. He should have used two rods, but he only used one. Okay, so this was the flaw they found in the design. So and this change in the design from two rods to single rod was done without any approval. Okay, I believe there was a question in the exam as well about taking approvals and so on. The last question, one of the question was, in the one of the part of the question was, should I take approval for any changes and so on and so forth. Okay, so in this case, with the collapse of this building, the engineer changed the design without taking the necessary approval. Okay, so and by doing this change, he did not follow the standards, the design standards. By making this change in the design of the building, he did not follow the correct standards. The standards required two rods. Okay, but he changed the design to one rod and he did not even take the approval. Okay. Now the next thing is, if I am the client, engineer made the change and this change is against the standards. Okay, should I let this happen? Should I let this happen? Huh? He made a change in my building, okay, and he did not take the approval from the government or whoever. Okay, will I let this happen? No, right? Okay, so this means what? It did happen, right? It did happen. He made the change without approval and the building was constructed. That means what? When he made the change, he did not communicate as well. Because if we had communicated to everybody, then somebody might have stopped him. Why are you making this? This is against the standards. Okay? So another problem they found in the case was lack of communication. The person who was making the change, he did not communicate to the client, he did not communicate even to the people who are working on the site. Because when you are working on the job, you know the standards, right? You know the standards. Okay. So if he had communicated, somebody may have told him that you are going against the standards. Got my point? Okay. So another problem which they found in the project was lack of communication. Okay. Then the next point they found was that the same engineer, can you see the full slides? Okay, they found that the engineer the person who was designing the site, designing the building, he was also the same person who was responsible for the record keeping. Okay, so when you do any changes, it has to go in the record. They will make a new drawing. They will say the new drawing was made on this day, and the approval was taken from this person, and then you put it in the record room or the file of the project. Okay, the person who was doing the design, he was the same person who was keeping the file of the project. So there was nobody checking him. Okay, so this is conflict of interest. You cannot tell me to check my own work. What am I? I am doing the design and I am keeping the record. Who will check me? You come and ask me, did you take the approval? I said yes. Who is keeping the record? Who is doing the change? So if there was any problem, nobody knew, because I was the person who is keeping the record. Okay, so this is called as conflict of interest. He was involved in the project in two ways. Okay, so he was supposed to do it and he was supposed to keep the record. So if he made any change, if he made any mistake, and there's a problem in the record, who will tell him? Nobody. Got my point? So they found there the conflict of interest as well. When he made the change, he did not notify the authorities as well. When you make the change and it is going against the standards, you have to notify the authorities, so they will tell you, okay, you can do this with this. Okay, so in this project, the change was not notified to the authorities. Okay, so because of that, when they were doing the construction of the building, because of the change, the walkways were not supported properly. The walkways needed 2 rods and it was only given 1 rod. When the building collapsed, when this thing happened, they started blaming each other. Design engineer was saying he did it, client was saying he did it, the person who was doing the installation on the site, who was saying he did it. Okay, so there was no accountability. Accountability means what? Taking responsibility because of your position. Accountability is taking responsibility because of your position. Okay, for example, if I am the teacher here, okay, and I tell that I am very busy in this semester, I will not do any exams, I will just give the grades to whoever I want. Okay, can I do that? I should, right? Okay, but I am telling you I am doing this because I have so much work from the department, I have that other course and that other course. Will you accept this from me? No. As a teacher, this is my responsibility. Okay, taking exams and checking and grading, this is my responsibility, right? It is my responsibility because of my position. Okay, so when your position asks you to do something, you have to do it. There are no excuses for it. Okay, if you are the site manager, if you are the project manager, something goes bad on the project, who is responsible? You are. Yeah, you can say that the reason is this supplier. Yes, supplier can be the reason, but who is still responsible? The manager. If you did not find a good supplier, find another one. If the material was not good, reject it, send it back. Got the point? So in this project, they found that people were not taking their responsibility. People who were responsible, okay, the design engineer, the engineer who was doing the record keeping, the person who was doing the installation on the site, they did not take their responsibility. So when the building collapsed, they said it's because of him, because of him, because of him. Okay, got it? So what are the lessons they learned from this project? The lessons which they learned, they involve that okay, the lessons which they learned, first of all, if there are any changes in the design or the plan, it should be notified to everybody and should be approved, okay, especially from the authorities. If you make any changes in the plan, in the design, you have to communicate it to everybody and you have to take the approval from the authorities. Okay, and you, as I said, you have to take the responsibility as well. Yeah. So because of this case, because of this incident, now there is more emphasis on monitoring the quality and checking. Okay, monitoring and checking and inspection. Now there is more emphasis on it. Okay, so you will not rely on one person who is doing the design and keeping the record and doing the inspection, everything by himself. Who did the design? I did. Where is it? With me. Who will check it? I will check it. Okay, so all these things now are done. People don't want this. Okay, because this happened. Okay, and I already gave you the reasons why this happened. Okay, I'll quickly go through the rest of the slides. There are only two. So, from this case, we learned that any action you do will have serious consequences for people. Okay, people can lose their life, people can lose their health, people can have damaging the environment. Okay, so you have to make sure that all your actions, all your products, all your processes are good for the society, not just good for yourself or not just good for your project. They are good for everybody. Okay, and you can see the example of the building there. The building collapsed. Those people were not part of the project, right? The person who constructed the building, he was not in the building when it collapsed. Somebody else died. Okay, so you have to look at this as well. Okay, some of the ethical issues which we face during the projects, I'll just quickly go through them. Safety, the case which I already mentioned. Okay, then we have acceptable risk, thing which I mentioned earlier with the model. This is the first moral principle. Everything has some good and has some bad. So you accept the bad, right? You accept the bad. So this is your acceptable risk. Okay. For example, somebody tells you if you do this on the site, you will have less accidents on the site, less safety problems on the site. Okay. But you say no, if I do this, my cost will increase by 10,000 BD. And what you are saying may have only one accident more. So you are accepting one accident more, right? You are accepting the chance of one more accident to save the cost. Okay? Or the example which I give you for the car going for hitting the person. Okay? So you don't hit the person, you go hit the barrier. You are accepting the barrier, right? You are accepting the risk of hitting the barrier. Okay? This is your acceptable risk. The loss which you are willing to accept. Compliance to the standards, compliance to the rules, regulations, and so on. Confidentiality, which information should be given to who? There was the question in the exam as well. Okay, which information should be given to who? The client should not know everything, the boss should not know everything, your teammates should not know everything. So you have to decide what information to give to who. Environmental health. If I do something on the site, what effect it will have on the environment? Will it have any noise pollution, dust pollution, okay, any harmful gases and so on. Data integrity means accuracy of your data. Okay, the data which you are providing to the client, the data which you are providing to the boss or any other person, it should be accurate. Okay, it should be accurate and valid. Conflict of interest, I already gave the example of the conflict of interest, the case study. Okay, I am designing and I am checking. This is conflict of interest. I should not check my own work. Okay, I am hiring and I am doing the interview for my cousin, or I am doing the interview for my daughter or for my son. This is conflict of interest. Okay, you should not be involved in something which is related to you personally. Okay, honesty, dishonesty. Okay, lying and giving correct information and so on. Societal impact, I already talked about I gave the example of the phone. There is an example of the bridge and the so on and so forth. Okay, fairness, treating everybody equally. Treating everybody equally. All candidates are equal, all workers are equal, all clients are equal, and so on and so forth. Accounting for uncertainty. You have to accept that there will be some things which will be unexpected. Some things will be unexpected and you have to account for that. Later on, you will take some courses in structural design. So if this building, I'm expecting a load of 1000 Newton. I'll not design it for 1000 Newton. I'll design it for more. Okay, what is this more? Uncertainty, unexpected load. Okay, so in all your projects, in all your cases, you have to account for unexpected behavior, unexpected results. Got it? Okay, any questions?